that the United States, along with almost all other Western governments, are signatories and have ratified the UN Convention Against Torture. So here we have an explicit, institutionalized legal commitment that we as a society have taken through our democratic processes. Now, I think in a way that these forms of evidence are in some ways not exactly, they're not the deepest form of evidence in terms of how we should think about the existence of a communal value. And if we have time at the end, I'll say a little bit more about how I think we should view those values. But I think that they at least provide us with a prima facie case that this is a very, very important value of our society. If we do assume that, what follows from it? Well, one thought that you might have, or one kind of objection to the line that I'm suggesting, is you might say, well, okay, I believe that the rejection of torture is an important value of our society, and I understand and I buy the idea that these values can sometimes constrain the powers and the obligations of state officials. But you might say, but surely a value commitment of this kind is never viewed as strong enough to allow the foreseeable death of citizens. Surely when something like that is at stake, these kinds of value commitments have to be put aside. They surely can't be strong enough to override a constraint on action where the lives of citizens are at stake. Well, the answer to that is this kind of thing happens all the time. We constantly allow avoidable deaths of citizens because of these kinds of value commitments. Let me give you an example. From time to time, this is something that happens a lot in England. I don't know whether it happens here as much. But in England, from time to time, a proposal is made to build a fast motorway through an area of countryside. And often what happens is that this is put to the local population through their local governmental processes. And very often, the local population rejects it because of their commitment to aesthetic and environmental values. But they reject the proposal to build a motorway, knowing that if they do so, certain concrete people will die who otherwise would have lived. Why is that? Well, we know that motorways are a lot faster than the small roads. Sorry, they're a lot safer than the small roads that they replace. So some people will die in car crashes, absolutely foreseeably, who otherwise would have been saved. We know that motorways are faster than small roads, so we know that certain people will make it to hospital in time to be saved who otherwise would not have. So here is an example where we choose to allow the foreseeable deaths of citizens, not for some kind of overriding moral value like the rejection not to torture, but for a seemingly less important value commitment, a commitment to beautiful countryside, aesthetic and environmental values.